Has begun a process to extradite Shepherd Bushiri and Mary Bushiri from Malawi. The self-styled prophet and his wife skipped the country to find the strict bail conditions. They were arrested last month on charges of corruption, fraud and money laundering amounting to over 100 million rand. It is still unclear how the Bushiris managed to leave the country given that they had to hand over their passports. Government has declared them fugitives from justice, adding that they did not leave the country aboard the same flight as Malawian President Lazarus Chakwera and his delegation this week. In a media statement, the GCIS says the delegation departed from Waterkloof Air Force Base in Pretoria and stopped at OR Tambo International Airport to collect more officials who had travelled to South Africa earlier to prepare for the presidential working visit. It is understood identities of all passengers were verified by immigration officials and the Bushiris were not on that flight. At the same time, the Enlightened Christian Gathering church leader has instructed his lawyers to urgently interdict the Pretoria Magistrate's Court from revoking his 200,000 rand bail. Bushiri also wants Malawian authorities to compel South Africa to prioritise his claims of death threats and extortion by investigating officers in his case.
The ECG leader publicly pronouncing on his theft, money laundering and fraud case. This in contravention of his bail condition, barring him from commenting on the case. He justified his address, citing freedom of expression.
We have got human rights, and one of the rights is, freedom to speech and expression. I can't express myself, I can't express my feeling over this case because they said I should not say anything as a bail condition.
He rubbished the assertion that he was a fugitive from justice, saying he was concerned about his safety. He detailed an event earlier this year.
In February this year, I almost got shot in Sandton at a filling station. I opened a curse in South Africa. There is a footage. I think it's right now the Sandton police, they are aware of this case. They even have a footage where my life was at a risk. I almost got shot. And until today, nothing has been done.
He also reiterated his claim of being harassed by investigating officers.
The police officers who were looking for money, to escort money from me. These people gave me tough time to extort money from me, and I opened cases against them with the IP department in 2018 in South Africa.
ECG Church has since gone virtual due to COVID-19 restrictions. The premises where followers used to express affection for their leader now lays idle. It is not yet clear whether Shepherd Bushiri will form part of the church service following his departure.
Church members have been barred from speaking to the media, but this is how ordinary citizens feel about Bushiri and his wife's escape.
This shows that you have to open everybody's eyes that this man is a crook.
They must catch him. They deserve to go to the jail, that guy. We don't want him anymore.
Bushiri's lawyers are expected to make an urgent application compelling the court from revoking his bail. Ofentse, Setimo, SABC News, Pretoria.
All right, so let's turn to Ofentse, Setimo, our reporter who's been tracking that story for the latest. Ofentse, so let's talk about where we are now. I saw an article suggesting that in Malawi, the Malawian president has ordered Bushiri and his wife to report to customs officials. So tell us about the latest developments here in South Africa.
Well, as you mentioned in your intro, thank you so much, Sepiso, that the South African government has embarked on trying to extradite the two Bushiri, the Bushiri couple after they left, going further to actually label them as fugitives of the law. So currently, that's the latest that actually came out, that we know that government took a stance to say that the Bushiris are a fugitive of the law and they should be brought back. And we know that during his presser yesterday, Bushiri also announced that he will be actually reporting to the authorities to actually mention the issues that he has with the South African law officials, saying that there were issues of extortion and there were issues of his life being threatened. So it's through that briefing that we established that he said that he actually was attacked in February this year, where someone actually tried to shoot him. But it's funny that for someone of a prominent stature like Bushiri that such an incident actually never made headlines. So the latest that we know is the extradition facilitation by the government after Pumla Williams, who's the government's spokesperson, actually issued a statement to that effect, and also confirming the fact that Bushiri was not on board the Malawian president when he came.
So, Ofentse, I want to talk about that, and we will speak to Ms. Williams later on, but there seems to be a suggestion from the Malawi government side that the president's aircraft at Waterkloof Air Force Base, President Chakwera, that flight was inspected by police to ensure that Bushiri was not on it, including at OR Tambo. Do we know whether these reports are true?
Well, all we know is the fact that the Home Affairs officials actually confirmed most of the people on board the Malawian president. So they say that they definitely confirmed that the person who's holding the ID would have to come forth, present himself physically, so that they can confirm that that's the legitimate holder of that particular passport. And they made sure that the Bushiri couple were definitely not on board that particular flight.
Ofentse, let's talk about how Prophet Bushiri has arrived in Malawi. That question has still not been answered, not by him or by anyone. There's been a lot of outrage in South Africa by various officials, but has there been an inkling of how he could have got there?
Well, the law officials are still sticking to their story of still trying to investigate what actually transpired. But hopefully today they will know that it's no longer unconfirmed report. As you know, that the Hawks had issued a statement to say that these are unconfirmed reports, and they would try to verify the content of a statement that had been released on Prophet Bushiri's Facebook page. So hopefully now they are aware of what's currently transpiring, and they are sticking to the story of investigating further how actually Bushiri managed to evade law enforcement agencies and to arrive in his home country of Malawi.
What about his followers, members of his church? How have they expressed their feelings about the fact that their leader has been declared a fugitive and that he in fact left South Africa illegally? What has been their reaction?
For most of today, we were actually at the Tshwane Event Center, formerly the Pretoria Showgrounds, where his ECG church has been based for most of the time. But due to COVID-19, the church has actually moved online. So basically, it's virtual. So it was really difficult to actually track down most of congregants or church elders that we could speak to. And it's we managed to get one. But we spoke telephonically, and they were like, they've been barred from commenting on the media. So it's really tough getting any of the people affiliated to the church to comment on this particular matter.
Fair enough. Thank you, Ofentse. Ofentse Setimo, my colleague who's been tracking that story around Shepherd Bushiri, of course, so we'll continue talking about it with the government spokesperson, Ms. Pumla Williams, at 8 o'clock to confirm those details about the extradition proceedings that are underway. In other